start this section off with a question. Are your results imbalanced to the northwest? That is, do you reside in a state of fear? Residing in the state of fear is different from experiencing the effects of fear. In the result, fear intensifies, it's continuous, and it's virulent. I chose the word virulent because it means something that's sustainable in a bad way. We can't get out of it easily. It's a trap, or it's like bondage. So we might have good life experiences or good influences in our lives, but like that same rubber band concept, it always snaps back to the state of fear instead of a state of joy. No matter if we have good influences or good life experiences occasionally, we just keep coming back to the fear, and nothing seems to be able to change that. If we reside in this state, we have developed a relationship with an imbalanced cause who interacts with us continuously. The established relationship between the cause, the imbalanced cause, and the child is what sustains our imbalanced effects and our imbalanced process. Subsequently, we have not only chosen a specific northwest desire to begin with, but we are steadfast in our focus to obtain it. We can't let it go. It has become an obsession. We are fanatical, we're consumed, or we're out of control in our passion to obtain it. This is not to say that balanced desire does not have an element of passion and single-mindedness. It does. We are saying that Northwest obsession is passion without enough reliance on a cause. It is what happens to our desire when we are in the state of fear. If we reside in the state of fear, we've been continuously processing in the Northwest. We're not saying that we temporarily got off track. In the result, we are full-on processing in the Northwest as if it were the balance. We have been continually sacrificing at too intense a rate for how little peace we are receiving. And this state has become our baseline. It feels normal. This doesn't mean there aren't times when we feel an assurance that we will obtain our desire. There are. But the issue is it never lasts. We actually have to work harder and harder over time to experience even a degree of confidence. We're never sure if we will ever be able to obtain our specific desire. It all seems so impossible. In order to obtain this result, the state of fear, we have been experiencing incremental degrees of Northwest sorrow for an extended period of time, but we have not yielded to these warnings. We have not changed our desire, our cause, or our process. Northwest effects begin as mild hunger and stress. The longer we ignore them, the more intense and continuous they become. Eventually, we feel starved for peace and overwhelmed with anxiety on a continuous basis. It becomes our baseline state. At some point along the continuum, we must resolve or compensate. If we resolve with a north cause, we rebalance. If not, we flip to the other side of the balance. Thus, the result of continuously processing in the Northwest, experiencing extreme fear, and not resolving with a balanced cause is our changing to a Northeast cause, a Northeast desire, process, and effects. So, how intense and continuous do you let your fear get before you look to resolve your conflict? And do you resolve your conflict with a north cause? We're going to start this section out speaking of northeast results in the same way we did with northwest results. Start with a question. Are your results imbalanced to the northeast? That is, do you reside in a state of depression? Residing in a state of depression is different than experiencing the effects of depression. In the result, depression intensifies, is continuous, and is virulent. If we reside in this state, we have developed a relationship with an imbalanced cause who interacts with us continuously. The established relationship between this imbalanced cause and child is what sustains the imbalanced process and imbalanced general effects that we experience. Subsequently, we have not only chosen a northeast desire to begin with, we're now not aware that there's anything better out there. To muster any desire takes an overwhelming amount of energy. We have become apathetic, lackadaisical, disinterested, having very little passion. We're too reliant on chance, fate, or random and conflicting causes to provide us with happiness. This is not to say that balanced desire does not include an element of destiny and a reliance on a power greater than our own. It does. We are saying that northeast sorrow is relying on a cause without taking the time to identify and strive towards the attainment of our desires. It is what happens to our desire in the state of depression. If we reside in a state of depression, we have been continuously processing in the northeast. We're not saying that we temporarily got off track. In the result, we are full on processing in the northeast as if it were the balance. We have been sacrificing at too sluggish a rate for how much peace we have been receiving on a continuous basis. And this state has become our baseline. It feels normal. This doesn't mean that there aren't times when we feel bursts of energy to get up and do something more. We do have those times. But the issue is it never lasts. We sink deeper and deeper into a pit of inactivity and loneliness. We desire only what is easy to obtain in the moment. In order to obtain this result, the state of depression, we have been experiencing incremental degrees of northeast sorrow for an extended period of time, but have not changed our desire, our cause, or our process. So northeast effects begin as mild stagnancy and boredom. These are the warning signs. The longer we ignore them, the more intense and continuous they become. Eventually, we not only feel stagnant, we will be stagnant. We move through life without a purpose. This is our baseline. At some point along this continuum, we must resolve or compensate. If we resolve with a north cause, we will rebalance. If not, we'll flip to the other side of the balance. Thus, the result of continuously processing in the northeast, experiencing extreme depression, and not resolving with a balanced cause is our changing to a northwest cause, a northwest desire, process, and effects. So how intense and continuous do you let your depression get before you look to resolve your conflicts? Do you resolve with a north cause? We're going to start this section out with a question also. Are your results imbalanced to the northwest and northeast? Do you reside in a state of desolation? Our general conflict, the conflict we're all working to resolve, is swinging like a pendulum around our inherent balance. Our goal is to center up in that balance over time. That's all normal, that's all good. If we keep that balance as our centripetal standard, we will not drift to increasing imbalance. The pendulum state is when we get trapped in a state of increasing, continuous, virulent, and simultaneous fear and depression. This is what I call desolation. Residing in a state of desolation is different than residing in either the state of fear or the state of depression. If we reside in this state, we have continuously sought to resolve our northwest fear with a northeast process, and vice versa, to the point that it has become habitual. Every time we experience fear, we go into a northeast process or a depression. And every time we resolve depression, we go into a northwest process of fear. The established northwest imbalance is what propagates the northeast imbalance. They feed off each other and so give each other life. We have developed a binding relationship with both a northwest cause and a northeast cause. And those causes just assist us assist in this trap, this locking in process where we can't get out. So in the state of desolation, obsession and apathy combine to create idolatry as opposed to balanced desire. So idolatry is fanatical wishing. It's like gambling. We compulsively depend upon chance to obtain specific forms of peace and energy. This state robs us of the conception that there are other possible states in which we could exist. It wipes out our desire for joy. It wipes out our desire completely. It wipes out our recollection of inherent balance, of our inherent balance, so we can't even connect with that. There was a time when we experienced incremental degrees of fear and depression, but we ignored them for so long that we now feel nothing. We are numb to general effects, both sorrow and joy. There is nothing left for us to do but seize whatever specific desires are within our reach. The only way out of this state is to resolve with a specific north cause, who has the desire for us to regain our balance. We must trust him implicitly until the relationship with the imbalanced causes has been severed completely. So how numb and impotent have you become? Which of your specific north causes will you trust implicitly?